Yeah, check 1 2, check 1 2. Is this mic on? Is this mic on? Hey, listen, man. It's the one and only trendsetter DJ Sense, and you're listening to CockTales. Dirty discussions with Kiki and Medinah Monroe. Yeah.
Today's episode is called a Boody Ram. So the ingredients you need to make this is 2 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, plus a grapefruit wedge for garnish, 2 ounces of sparkling water, a half ounce of lime juice, a 1/4 ounce of agave nectar or simple syrup, and some sea salt. So here's how you're going to make a Boody Ram. You're going to salt the rim by rubbing the grapefruit wedge around the edge and dipping into a small plate. Mix the tequila, the grapefruit juice, the sparkling water, the lime juice, and the agave into a glass. Fill the remainder of the glass with ice. Adjust the sweetness to taste and garnish with a grapefruit wedge. And that is a Boody Ram.
Is that based on my last name?
Yes.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I was like, is this some weird coincidence?
No, we didn't know what to call the drink today.
And then I said, you know what, Boody?
Did you guys invent that drink?
We didn't.
We kind of did. We invented the name.
Yeah, the name.
Who's being honest right now? You said
Me.
yes. Okay.
I'm a Libra. I'll be lying.
She does. Welcome back to CockTales Dirty Discussions, you guys.
Hey,
As
y'all.
you can see, we are not in our normal studio. We are back in LA, and today we are with Shan Boodram. Welcome to CockTales.
Thank you for having me.
So we usually have a bartender with us at the studio, and she'll come up with these different drink recipes, and we'll drink them, but we couldn't afford to bring her with us, so it was just us today. And we actually need to drink more water. Welcome back, you guys. Before we get started, we do want to remind you all to please check the description box to get your link to get your tickets for Birmingham live show and the Dallas live show. Those are the last 2 coming up, and we can't wait to see you guys. Also, check the description box for everything else. Now, on to fun things.
Shan.
First of all, I can't wait for this tour. I got to come to the LA show when you guys are back in town doing that.
Yeah, you do.
It's one of the best live shows, period.
It's a lot
Period.
of fun.
It is.
It's like we like to get real interactive, play some games, and let people.
I've seen the videos.
Oh,
Yeah, I see.
We have a good time.
Yeah.
So, like when we were in LA last time, we did a red carpet theme. So people really dressed up and wore gowns. We had on our sparkly outfits. It was just so much fun.
I want to see you guys look phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
I said, let me tell you something real quick, because this is like, I feel like I manifested this moment this is probably about 5 or 6 years ago. My older brother, I had moved back at home with my parents, and I was just down and out and sad about life. So he was always like sending me people that were inspiring, inspirational, or people that he knew lined up with the things that I like to talk about. He was like, there's this mixed girl. I'm gonna say it just how he says it. There's this mixed girl. He's like, I think she's Black and Indian, and her name is Shan Boodram. And he sent me your YouTube, and you used to read these letters to your exes. And I became obsessed with you the second my brother sent your page to me. And I was just like, when Kiki and I got confirmed that we were going to have you on the show, it was just really a moment of like, wow, if you speak things into existence. Because I was like, I'm going to meet her one day. I want to have her on the show one day. I want to interview her one day. And here we are. And it just feels amazing. Thank you. Oh my God. It's really special. Thank you. It's sometimes when you get around people that
Kiki,
you're inspired.
your turn.
Well, actually, all jokes aside, she told me about you, and I was like, I've been watching her forever. I remember you. What I loved about you and what kind of got me doing CockTales and the way that we chose to do the show was sharing our personal experiences. You were telling a story about a time you got an STD, and you were very candid about it. I'm like, wow, this girl got on the internet, and she shared this, and it's something that people need to hear because it's a real experience. And just how candid you've always been about sharing your life. Like, we really appreciate that because there need to be more people who are going to share the real stories and not just the glamorized stories where everything is going well.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly why I got into what I do for a living, because I talked a lot about sex my whole life. Like, I think that some kids are just born to play the piano. I feel like I was just born to do this. Like, I just always was interested and fascinated by the human body and the experience. And when I got into high school, I talked about sex a lot with my friends, but it was all lies. And
Wait, what were you lying about?
You know, I orgasmed 50 times. The dick was huge. He couldn't handle it. My pussy's amazing. Like, I'm great at head. I'm the freak. All the lies. We were actually having a conversation with my friend. Like, remember when we were in high school calling ourselves freaks? Because we did the basics.
I didn't even know what you were doing.
I did doggy style.
I'm a freak. I didn't even really fully know what a virgin was. And I was at school. This was like, I don't know if I was in junior high or high school. And this guy was like, yeah, I'm not a virgin. And I was like, I'm not either. I was. And I was. What are y'all out here? Teach the kids.
The first person I had sex with, I didn't know that he was a virgin too until like 10 years later. And I was like, this actually would have been really useful information at the time because I had sex with you and was like certain I had AIDS afterwards because we didn't have protected sex. I'm like, it would have been helpful if you were like, hey, this is my first time doing this. But that to be said, I definitely knew when I came into this years later that I didn't just want to be the kind of expert who just gave information. I wanted to also give of myself. And I wanted people to be like, I'm not alone because someone else has been through what I have. And now you guys have this incredible podcast where people feel emboldened to share the craziest shit with you.
Yeah,
so,
sometimes I'm like, they send us pictures and videos sometimes, and I'm like, wow, y'all really love us.
Deeply inspired by you.
I'm a stranger.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we start talking to you more about our topics, we do a segment called Weird Sex. So this week's Weird Sex.
You said a man is not a necessity, a man is a luxury.
Like dessert. Yeah. A man is absolutely not a necessity.
Did you mean that to sound mean and bitter?
Oh, not at all. I adore dessert. I love men. I think men are the coolest. But you don't really need them to live.
You guys, is another injury that I found. I've been reading all these like different websites and they talk about freak accidents that people get into. What sex position do you guys think is probably the most common for someone to fracture their penis?
69.
69.
Why do you say 69?
With a mouth?
Yeah, because I think like
You think a mouth can fracture a penis?
Yeah, have you ever like bent it a little bit? If you miss your mouth, or maybe it gets on you, it gets your neck, or it hits your head, or
you gotta wear your glasses next time you're 69.
I'm blind. You could bend it a little bit.
Okay.
You know what's funny? I went to a comedy show last night, and this dude was like, "Ladies, if you're in a long-term relationship, stop giving head with your glasses on. Like, please, like, commit to the experience, commit to the sexy. Take your fucking glasses off." So
I love my glasses.
Well, maybe there we go. Kinks for everybody.
Yeah, so apparently there's two different ideas here. One doctor who's a really popular TikTok doctor, and I mean, she's a real doctor, but she's on TikTok sharing experiences. She says that over half of the penis fractures come from reverse cowgirl. Now, somebody else said doggy style, but I can see them both. Now, reverse cowgirl is what I would pick because I feel like that almost happened to me a few times. It does hurt because, like you said, it would happen with your mouth. It would happen like when you try to sit back down on it, or when somebody's not as big as you thought they were and you kind of overestimate or underestimate.
Yes.
That can be very tricky. So this,
well, reverse cowgirl is two different ways, right? There's where you're like holding on to the ankles and when your hands are by your side. I feel like the ones where you're holding onto the ankles is probably the more dangerous one.
yeah, I usually can't reach that far, so I'm down at the knees, just trying to hold on to like that. I'm 5'3".
Oh,
yeah,
cute.
So I'm like
You
at
get
the
picked
knees
up
holding
during
on.
sex. What's that like?
And I love it. It's so much fun.
Can't
Now
relate.
every now and then it's like a smaller guy, and I'm like, "Are you strong enough to hold me?" Because I'm thick. But they do it. I'm like, you have been in the gym, okay? And I appreciate it. Anyway, this guy had a fracture in his penis. He was having sex with his girl, and reverse cowgirl was the position. By the time he got to the doctor or to the hospital, his penis was really dark purple. It was swollen, and he said it looked like an eggplant. So you guys be careful out there. Because you shouldn't really have an eggplant-looking penis. That's dangerous.
That sounds painful.
Despite what the emojis will tell you.
Yeah,
not goals.
What's up, everybody? It is Masturbation May. That means the whole month of May. I hope y'all is playing with yourselves and making yourselves come. But if you're not, we still want you to have really great sex. And if you are someone who has a hard time having better sex or learning new ideas about having better sex, check out Beducated, one of our new sponsors.
Yes, Beducated is a really, really cool. So it's a website that you can go to, and they have over 100 different online courses that are going to teach you all different sorts of things about sex. So 2 classes that I found very interesting. One, they have a lap dance class.
Oh, I need to try that one.
Yeah, and the classes are fun. Don't think of it as being stuffy and you're going to have like an old instructor who doesn't get it. It's a cool little thing to watch. And you guys write us letters all the time, and you're always asking for ways to like boost your confidence. How can you do something sexy and different? You can go to Beducated and sign up for one of those classes. Another one that I saw that was very interesting, I didn't know what it was. It's called a lingam massage. Had you ever heard of that?
Lingam?
Lingam.
Lingam.
So it's a tantric massage for penises and all the male genitalia. And so think of it like a yoni massage, but for people with penises. So if you want to take your head game to another level, I highly suggest that course right there. And it's going to be an experience. Trust me.
Yeah. Also, if you just want to learn how to communicate better and open up to your partner about sex that you might be wanting, new ideas, old ideas you want to bring back up, boundaries, desires, check out Beducated.
Yeah, so the offer with Beducated is that if you guys use our code CockTales and click the link in the description box, you can get 50% off a yearly pass to Beducated. It's a 14-day money-back guarantee. You won't even the first day is free. So you can test it out and see, is this your vibe or not? You don't have to worry about it. And with the 50% off offer for the year, that works out to about $8.33 a month. Like, you'll spend more than that on Uber Eats.
I'm excited. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, so make sure you guys check out the link in the description box and sign up for Beducated. Learn a little something. We wanted to talk to you this week about a couple of things, but we wanted to start off talking about like different dating tips and having healthy dating experiences because we have been doing it wrong a lot.
And a lot of people have and don't even realize it. Even sometimes when I'm having like discussions, I have done it quite a bit. But when I talk to my friends and like you're like, you talk about red flags and it's like, do you really know how to recognize a red flag? How do you date healthily? Is healthily a word?
I think so, yeah. I mean, sometimes, I see the red flags. I know that they're there. And I'm just like, whatever, we can make it. It's like riding when your gas light comes on. And you're just like, I know my car. Like, I know I can handle it. No, you can't because next week you're crying.
Or you might be able to. I think that's kind of the thing. It's like, how do you eat healthy? My dad was trying to eat healthy for a bit. And he was eating salads every single day. And he ended up with gout. And then he researched it and he found like a particular kind of salad based on like your blood type could cause gout in you. So like that is to be said.
I didn't know that.
There's no like one size fits all. There's basic general rules for eating healthy that like if you don't want to do any research, if you don't want to do any work, you could probably get by like Googling it and just using that. But if you really want to get specific, you go to a nutritionist, you learn your blood type, you go to a personal trainer, you try out different things. Like you get more intense with it. I think the same thing when it comes to dating. Yeah. There's the basics like you don't date liars, don't date narcissists, stay away from people who love bomb, try to find somebody who's securely attached. Like there are some basic ones there, but more or less it's like what healthy dating is for me is going to be very different based on, where I live, who I'm looking for, and what do I want to accomplish. Because even in dating, like, am I looking for a long-term partner? Am I looking for a fuck buddy? Am I looking for someone
who's just
to
fun?
help to push my career along, right? Like there's different goals in mind for it. So there's like an easy answer, there's a very complicated answer. It's just how much work do you want to do?
Because those relationships take work. And I think it's interesting that you said, even comparing it to being healthy, you have to, the times when I was dating in a negative way, I wasn't feeling good about like me. So it was like a lot of personal work that I continue to do and have been working on myself to make sure that I'm making the right decisions in a partner. And I've realized that when I haven't, it really has been like a lot of me just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Like people be lying and doing stuff and it is right in your face and you try to make an excuse for it.
Yeah.
I call it the delusional woman.
Oh, tell me more.
Oh, we can get very...
Do we know her?
Have you been a delusional woman?
Absolutely. I've been delusional so many times. And sometimes I enjoy the ride. Life gets boring and I just want to go on a little delusional path. But I know that, and I know that there's an end date. I know that this isn't my forever person, but right now I want to ride the roller coaster. But I've definitely been delusional more times than I would care to admit.
Yeah, I feel it when it's coming on. Like I feel I'm being delusional when I can't express myself with whoever I'm with. Like I feel like you're gonna not want to be with me, judge me about it, or just it's not gonna be a positive situation. So I'm just like, oh, actually, let me make something up for this. That's not that wouldn't happen. It would happen, and it probably needs to happen, sis.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some misconceptions about like finding that one true love or playing hard to get? Like we hear those phrases all the time, and I think different people have different ideas about it, but what do you think?
I think the biggest misconception with finding your person is like that notion that like, one, that you'll just know. I really hate that one. 2, I hate just be yourself. And
that's what everybody
3,
says.
I hate it happens and you're not even trying or looking. Like I don't like any of those adages. But that isn't to say that it's not going to work for some people, right? Like moving to LA, you could not go to an acting class, not audition, not hustle and grind, and just get a job at a Starbucks on like a Warner Brothers lot. And then the director comes down and says, the next
got
big
the
film.
part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That could be your story. So I think that we acknowledge that in everywhere else in life, like that's the exception, not the rule. But when it comes to like love and dating, like that's the rule that we give. Like shouldn't have to try, don't really think about it. Don't put any extra effort in. Like, you're good enough. You're fine. You're good to go. Like, get out there and meet your forever person. And I just think that anything that you want to be good at and you want to have the best results in, you're really strategic about it and you're very intentional about it. And you learn and you pick up teachers. And so why should this be any different? I think like I'm a constant student. Like I've been talking about this thing for such a long time and I'm always learning new stuff. And I'm always like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that before. So for people who have never thought about it, I'm like, there's so much room for improvement that you're just leaving on the table. And why? For a thing that makes a very big impact on your quality of life.
Yeah. And you're married now. Now, were you looking when you found him?
It's a trick. I love this question because
That
this
is
is like
a
a
good
big
question.
debate because it's like, there's a big difference to me between like, I want to get married and I'm looking for my husband.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if I'm looking for my husband, I'm interacting with every person that I'm dating. Like, are you that person? And that puts a pressure for things to go to like a specific area. Like, so rather than like, let's go for a walk, it's like, we're walking to the aisle.
Yeah.
And then if you're not at the same pace as me, if you're not in the same mission, like we're parting ways. Versus like, let's go on a nice walk.
We're parting ways, or I'm gonna force you into this, and now we're in a marriage, and we in here acting crazy in the house.
Right. And it's like, did you want to get married or did you want to get married to me? And I think that that's the question. So I definitely have always wanted to get married. I actually did wedding photography, like to pay my way through college. And like, I'm obsessed with weddings. My parents are married. I like the concept and idea of it. I'm not religious, so it doesn't necessarily provide like permission to do anything different, or it didn't like provide an opportunity for me to like unleash a new level of my love. I kind of knew marriage was more a thing that I would do when I'm like, I've already met my life partner, we're already life partnering. Now let's like have a cool party. So that was marriage for me. But I always wanted that, but I definitely 100% not Jared. I 100% did not meet him, not even for a second, and think like this is my husband. But there was a time where I started to be like, I think healthy relationships are like getting together, feeling like, is this feeling good with what we're sharing? And then being like, do you want to advance this? Yes? Okay, let's advance and stop and figure it out. Does this feel good what we're doing? Doesn't really feel that great. Let's go back to where we were before. Do I really want to go back with you? Maybe I want to part ways with you. Or do we want to step forward? So it's just like, rather than trying to advance to a particular goal, it's just trying to advance the intimacy one step at a time. And then you should look up and be like, oh shit, we're at a wedding and there's somebody, a officiator, and our family and friends are here. Let's get married. Versus we're moving so focused towards a destination when I have so little information about you. Where are you guys at though? Because I know people who are like, I'm an intentional dater, so everybody who I meet, I make sure that they're on a marriage track or I don't even waste my time on a first date.
I'm not very intentional with that. I think right now I'm in a phase where I'm just trying to see, do I like the person that I'm spending time with? How do I feel when I'm with them? And even though I'm much older than I ever thought I would be if I would get married, I'm still like, I just need to be patient because I don't want to rush into something. And if I'm feeling uneasy, maybe I need to work on something with me before I do something that I feel like is such a big commitment. But with dating, I'm just keeping my options open and making sure that I'm dating people who I actually enjoy spending time with versus I like what they can do for me. Because that was me for a long time. And that was a fun phase of life.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a great time, but I'm over that now. And it's not about what you can do for me. How are you making me feel? Because my feelings are just becoming more and more important as I get older and I'm getting more comfortable in my career and other parts of my life. I want to be happy every day. And are you making me happy? Or are you stressing me out and making me want to do something crazy that could have me ending up on Snap? You know, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I'm at the
deep breath.
Because I've been through a lot in dating, like most women probably have, but like I always wanted like the fairy tale and definitely knew I wanted to be married, and I always felt like I was better in a pair. And I think that's because of my sibling ranking. Like I'm the baby in my family. I do better with a person, and I recognize that about me. At first I thought it was a bad thing, but then I was like, no, I mean, it's just that's how I am. And I think that at first I never really thought about dating as serious, getting past the part of like the fairy tale. Like, this is fun. We're going on dates. It's new and exciting every day. I was always scared to get to the regular part of when it's just like, we're not doing all this stuff all the time. Like, now we're regular and we're talking about real life stuff. I've always been scared to get to that point. And
why?
it just makes me feel, it's just one of my struggles. Like, it makes me feel so uncomfortable to talk about the next steps in anything. And so in joining your life with someone in a real way, there's a lot that has to be unpacked on both ends. And so now I feel like the person that I'm with, now he challenges me with that. And I feel good. I think I never really trusted anybody that I was with, even in a relationship. It was like, I was in the relationship, but is you in the relationship because you want a relationship or you need a place to stay. Like, you need help. And now I'm at a point where I don't need that. And I can really open up and be myself and figure out what I want in my partner. And I'm open enough to now let you know what you're getting in this package. And it used to scare me. And so now I'm with someone who makes me feel comfortable letting those things out. It feels really good and healthy.
That is. And that's an interesting way of putting it too, because getting to that comfort phase, it's also like the fear of it getting boring, maybe.
Yeah, the fear of it getting boring. And then just like, I've lived with a boyfriend before and I hated it. It was just a really bad experience.
Yes.
And I noticed that, like, thinking about it now, like moving forward, if I ever live with a man again, one of those fears is like, you get to see like what I'd spend my day doing. Does that make sense? Like, you can't really hide anything anymore.
Yes.
You see the person for who they are. And sometimes you're not sure if it'll scare them away. And so, yeah.
Yeah, the mystery that allows you to be like, I'm more exciting, I'm more busy, I have more friends, there's more going on, when it's just like, no, this is actually what it is.
I wake up at 3 a.m. and I need a snack.
Yeah.
And no one can be like, what you doing? It's like, I'm just eating my snack in my bed with crumbs. But you got somebody with you now, and they're like, bro, why are you eating? I thought you wanted to lose weight.
No, I just said that. I have a question for both of y'all since y'all are in relationships. What did it take for you to get to the point where you did feel comfortable to share those things? And I'm assuming you're very open. I mean, you're open with the internet. So
yes.
Was it easy for you, or did it take like some getting used to, or just time?
I think that you're like, kind of have like hit the nail, bitch. You hit the nail on the head, where it's just, being with somebody where it feels like natural.
Just a feeling.
But it's like mutual, logical, reciprocal, right? So it's, and gradual. I should say that. It's gradual, it's logical, and it's reciprocal. So it's not happening all at once. Like, we're sharing it as we get closer together. So it makes sense. Like, we're taking a long drive together because we're spending the day together. That's a big thing. So now we're sharing more about ourselves. You're picking me up from the airport, so I'm talking more about my family than I usually would. So like, it's making sense for the scenario. And then when I do it, it feels good. And then when I do it, you share back. So I know it's a safe space where now we're opening up to each other. So I think like that kind of basic recipe, it's a really big thing of like, do I share too much? Because sharing too much too fast can push people away.
It's like, oh my gosh, do you need a friend? Why are you telling me all of this? Diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, and it can push, because it's like, there's a concept is called mutual communal responsiveness. Just speaks like a big part of relationships is accepting the responsibility of someone else. And if you give someone too much responsibility too early on, they get overwhelmed. If you don't give them any responsibility, they're not really invested because they're not a part of this project with you. They don't really feel like they have a connection to you. So there is like a Goldilocks thing there. And a lot of people overdo it and some people underdo it. That can also speak to attachment styles. So I think if you kind of go by that basic rule book of like, it's gradual, like it's happening over time. I'm not sharing my deepest secrets on day one. And it's mutual. When I give, you give back. And it's logical. Like, it's happening around the times that other, advancements in our relationship are happening. It's not just like out of the blue. On ice cream, I just break down crying and tell you about like my puppy dying when I was 3 and how that's traumatized me. But maybe that does. And if those things happen, those can slip up. Life's not a perfect formula. But I think that that's like a basic way to know that like, okay, this is safe. And even if this does go wrong, I'm still... I'm not exposing myself unnecessarily to harm, and I'm not preventing myself from making a meaningful connection by being too afraid to give it all.
I think that I had on here, like, there's different dating stages that, like you said, there's no rule book for real, but I do think there's certain marks that you should be hitting if you're saying that you really like somebody and you talking about taking the next step with them. And a lot of the things that I've noticed, like with some of my friends, is they'll be dating someone for, let's say, like a year. You haven't had the conversation about like, what exactly are we doing? Like, we're in our 30s and you're telling us like, I don't know how to ask him what are we doing? And it's like, oh, I think maybe y'all missed a couple beats because you should have been done, ask the questions of just where are we at? What are we looking forward to? If you know in your heart that you want to be in a committed relationship with someone. And so I feel like a lot of times women feel like you don't want to say too much because you don't want to scare him off. And if you scare him off, I think he's just not the one.
Absolutely.
Asking basic questions like, what are we doing? I need to know what we're doing.
I feel like you gave me an aha there because it's less about where do I want to go and more here's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. Like if you're having a conversation of here's where I'm at. Right now, I'm X age and I'm dating a lot of people looking for meaningful connections and to have a great time. If I'm dating you now for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, I'm at somewhere different. So now I want to update you. You know where I'm at now? I'm starting to feel a real vibe with you. I'm really starting to like get invested in you. I enjoy our time together. You know, would you want to do X advancement with me? And then we do that advancement and in a month I'm like, here's where I'm at now. Like, so if we're making it the culture of like being honest about what we feel in the moment, we don't have to feel weird about being like, okay, so update. What has this been for the past year? And what will this be for the next 50 years? And where are we today? Go. And that's like a lot of pressure to figure out in a day. So I think if you're like constantly having the conversation of like, here's how I'm feeling. And once those circumstances, those feelings change, you update your partner, you invite them to do the same. I think that culture prevents you from getting into those sticky situations.
Yeah,
It definitely
that one is, ooh, that's a doozy. Because to not be able to ask a person what you're doing when you want more, that is part of the delusional woman. And if you scare the person away, okay, but there's another way that this could go. They could be on the same page as you. And maybe you said before you didn't want anything serious. And now this other person is feeling like I do want something more, but I don't want to scare her away. That can happen too, because sometimes I think that we act as if only one side can be scared of the other person's reaction, or only one person can want more and not really know how to communicate. That's not good, but it could be both sides. And I've had to do that before and just bite the bullet. Just do it. Because what are you doing? You're torturing yourself by not asking the things or not speaking up about whatever it is that you want out of life. You're not going to get it. And so what's the worst? You're still not going to have it. But now you know it's not coming from this person and you can confidently move on.
It's like the risk factor though, because I do like get that. Like I've had situations in the past where like dudes will like reveal their feelings and intentions too soon and it makes something that I wanted to be casual
you don't
accountable. Now it's kind of serious.
Yeah,
and so then I had to end the situation because I'm like, I got to end it because I don't see that vision, but I might have if we just let it chill. But the real truth is the likelihood was like, you had like a 15% window because what I know about you thus far, like we're probably not. I know for sure, I say that with Jared, like if he would have come to me and vice versa and been like, this is something serious, we would never be married. So it was essential in our relationship, but it was also the culture of it to keep it light and casual. And we only made it more serious, I think, when it really, really made sense. But most of the time, if you like have to ask somebody or put the pressure on them, even if it makes them jump to a decision, that probably is a choice they would have made in 6 months to a year anyways. Unless, what do you guys think about that?
I think more often than not, because I'm thinking about the times that I've dated and somebody had told me, you know, they wanted something more serious. I did feel the same way. A year later, nothing would have changed. I told them no then, my feelings wouldn't have changed. So, but I still think you should say it. Because if you are feeling it and you're anxious and you're on this timeline, you need to know I'm not the timeline girl. I'm probably going to move a lot slower in terms of the progress of the seriousness of the relationship. I'm going to move at a snail's pace. Now, we can have fun, but it's like I get worried and anxious sometimes that people are going to change or how are you going to be in a few years? And we don't need to make anything too committed because it's going to be just bad in the end.
It's rough. I wanted to talk about social media.
What about it?
How do you feel about sharing your relationship on social media? Do you ever regret anything?
Never. I do. I regret one thing that I did years ago, but I responded emotionally to something and I was in the wrong. You know, it was like one of those situations where I responded emotionally and in my like an ego state, and then I didn't actually take stock of everything. And the thing with social media, it's not, that was only that particular case. I wasn't like with somebody. So it's not a conversation that you and me are having. Never have a conflict on social media. I'll say that because you don't know what that other person knows or is aware of. And like, you could just look really stupid really, really fast. But it's a good lesson for me. But I think in general, no, I've never. But it's what I do for a living, so it's very, very different. I think for most people, there's definitely protections that you should put in place, and especially knowing like I really only share anything once I've made a decision about it. So most of the time, if I'm talking about something, it's because it happened months ago. I've already processed with my partner. I processed with the people who are trusted, mediated forces in my life, and now I'm sharing it in hindsight. I never do something like reactionary as I'm going through it. And the time that I did, it was a very big mistake. What do you guys feel about it?
I'm torn because I'm in a situation where it's like I'm in a relationship. My relationship is very new. I'm talking about it like we about to get married. I hope we do, but you never know. You know, I'm putting it out there, communicating. You hear me, baby? So I am like, I'm like a one end of the spectrum or the other end, and I'm trying to find like a middle. So it's like right now with him, it's so new and fresh. And I want to do things differently. I put a lot of my business on social media and on our podcast and on everything else. And I'm an open book. And for some reason, when it comes to my relationship, I'm like, okay, I don't want to follow you on Instagram. I don't want you to follow me on Instagram. And let's just keep it like that. I'm not going to post you. You don't have to post me. And period. That's it. But now as we start to grow and we have these amazing times together, I'm like, I do kind of want to post you, but I get so nervous because
Why?
Because people are mean. And it's
That's
like,
true.
he doesn't do what we do.
Yeah.
He's not in media. He's not trying to be in media. And I don't want to invite that type of attention into his life. And it's this weird, I haven't even had that conversation with him yet because I don't really know how he would feel about it. And I don't know how I would feel if I hear the answer of like, yeah, let's just keep it at what we have it. Because like I said, we don't follow each other. And his page is private. So I don't know what he has going on over there on Instagram. And it's just, I'm like, oh, should I?
It's stressing you out.
It is stressing.
You see how she started moving around like she's getting anxious.
It is stressful with a K. And it's like, oh, am I insecure? Because he can see everything on my page. And if he wanted to, he could go listen to the podcast and hear years of my dating experiences. You're going to be mad, but like he could do it if he wanted to. But with him, his social media presence is a mystery to me.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. And I'm like, I don't know if that's like, is that an issue or is that just normal?
I mean, I think like emotional regulation is a really big, important factor of like healthy, important relationships. So sometimes you can have a feeling and know like, this is crazy. I don't need to act on it. So you could be like, this is a system that we've set up. I want to respect his privacy. Would I want to know? For sure. But like, is this really going to benefit my relationship that I want to build with him? Or is it going to benefit like our connection? And if it doesn't, then no. But if it will.
That's a good way to put
that.
I
think going back to that thing of like, instead of us trying to build these brands intimately on like, this is what it is, or this is what I want, this is what it will be, just like really taking it day by day of here's where I'm at. And I actually do think that heterosexual men do a better job of that.
They do. Okay, Kiki. You know I've been trying to be a better adult.
It is so hard.
It's hard. There's so many things you have to remember, so many bills you have to pay, places you have to be. But one thing I really need to stop doing is wasting money, throwing money away, basically.
Yeah, I mean, have you tried Rocket Money?
What's that?
Rocket Money is a service. They have an app. You can access it on the web and everything. But Rocket Money basically looks through your bank account and looks at your subscriptions and different bills that you have, recurring bills. It'll give you warnings like, hey, you have a big bill due this week. So like slow down on your spending. Or, hey, I need to know, you're paying kind of high for your internet. They can contact your service provider and negotiate the rate. Then they'll also help you to remember that you have subscriptions. Because I don't know about you, but like iTunes, for example, or the App Store. I'll subscribe to stuff, forget about the apps. The apps aren't even on my phone anymore. But every day, Apple is charging me $2.99. It's going to remind you about those things and show you what you're paying for so that you can really get a grip on your money.
You know what? I need something like that because there are so many times when I get charged and I'm like, what is this? And then I get distracted doing something else and I'm like, but this has been happening for years.
Yeah, it really has. But you know what? You and all of our listeners are going to be able to try Rocket Money free for 30 days. That's enough time to try and completely forget about a subscription. You know, before you know it, you're paying for a subscription you don't use every single month like I've been doing. And with Rocket Money, you're going to sign up for it. And in 30 days, they're going to show you this is what you've been spending and this is how we can save you money. So Rocket Money, also formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. I've been actually using it for years, and I really like it. It reminds me of stuff, and even little things that I'll forget. Like, I'm really bad about my phone bill. It's not on auto pay, but I always pay it around the same time. So it'll say, hey, it's about time for you to pay this bill. It's just great. It helps me really have a good grasp on what I'm spending and helps me to stop overpaying for stuff, because I was definitely doing that. Like having multiple subscriptions for the same thing. Just crazy things. They've negotiated my AT&T bill.
Oh my God, it sounds like the perfect boyfriend.
I know, and you don't have to call and talk to people necessarily. You can just communicate through the app. They'll even send you suggestions. It's so great. I love it.
I absolutely love that, and I'm definitely going to try it and use our little discount code. So you guys, y'all need to use it too. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/cocktails. That's rocketmoney.com/COCKTALES. rocketmoney.com/cocktails.
Okay, and now we're back. So I wanted to switch things up a little bit and talk more about just your own personal experiences. And I know that I've seen online with you sharing about being in a non-monogamous relationship at some point. How do you suggest that people introduce that into their relationship if it's something that they're thinking about?
Super slowly. I think that you likely have, from the time you were born up until that moment, conditioning of one way of loving and looking at love. And to introduce a new commitment structure can take a long time for people to understand, accept, and not take personal. Just even wrap their heads around. So I think really slowly and honestly, I think that you should be willing to go on the journey. It depends on where you're at. Like anything when someone's like, I have this kink, how do I get my partner on board? It's like, well, how long have you had this kink? How many videos have you watched? How many people have you talked to about it? How many forums have you read? Like, think about all the education and time it took for you to get so comfortable with it that you're like, I want to bring this kink to this other person that I barely really know. And try to give that person like a fraction of that time to get on the same page as you. So the same thing with non-monogamy is that if it's something that feels really good for you, it always has, introducing it slowly. And if you're in a relationship and like, this is an idea that I am considering, bring your partner along on that conscious process so that you guys can like figure it out together at the same time.
And then what about if you change your mind after you've already agreed to do it, and let's say you've been in this non-monogamous relationship, I don't know, 5 years, and now you change your mind? How do you navigate that?
I'm gonna keep saying the same talking point. It's literally creating a culture of here's where I'm at. Like not here's what it is. Like from now on, like I always cringe. Cringe is the wrong word. But when people are like, you guys are non-monogamous, I'm like, it's disappointing. We're not really. You know what I mean? Like, but we have this brand, right? But the truth is that like, it's not one thing all the time. You could ask me today, like, here's where we're at. Like today our relationship looks like this, but he might go out and meet somebody great. He might fall in love with you, Kiki, and be like, can we see each other again? You might say yes or no. But I just mean like, because we're in a culture of here's where I'm at, now here's what it is, like you can change your mind, and it doesn't mean that, oh, it's the end of the relationship or opportunity to renegotiate or that you're fake or something.
So are you and your Jared non-monogamous?
I think by like principle, not necessarily in action. Especially, I mean, we have 2 small children. One's 8 months and one's 2. So like our opportunities to like, there's this dude right now who I'm just trying to like go to dinner with. Not even a date. I just think he's hot. And I'm like, I like being around hot people. So I'm trying to like plan a dinner with him. Like I'm trying to go dinner with this dude. I've been trying to plan this shit for like 2 months. And every time the day comes up, I'm like, can't go. So I don't even know how. And this is not even like someone that like we have like mutual, interest in each other in that way romantically. But I don't know how it would be feasible for me at this present time, or same with Jared. But it's always like, oh, let's see where we're at today. So I don't have any great stories though.
Interesting. Would y'all do y'all's families know that y'all used to? Because I'm assuming y'all probably used to be like really deep into like, well, I met this person, I met this person, you met this person. Was it ever like that? Like it was, I'm bringing someone home. Are you cool with it?
Our families?
No, when you brought someone into your relationship before you were married, like did your families know that y'all would do stuff like this?
I mean, that's how we started out that way. My families like don't think it's real though. I think my parents think it's like made up.
Why? They think it's for the internet?
It's kind of the same thing of just like, you guys are all talk. Like, where's the action? Where's the receipts? Where's the proof? Where's the boyfriend? So, like, we got, we're not having kids anymore. And Jared got a vasectomy. And I had my IUD put in. My mom was like, why do you need an IUD? Jared has a vasectomy. I'm like, Mom, Jared can't have kids anymore.
But I might
be able to. And, you know, your IUD could stay in for 10 years. So I wanted that protection for myself. And she's like, what are you talking about? So I think that they just think it's not real. And I don't know if it is. I just think that that's kind of, you know, that's why whenever people say, I'm like, I'm not like the spokesperson that I would like to be. I think I am in terms of like acceptance and understanding. And I think it's nice because I can straddle both. I definitely live a monogamous culture, but invest energy in learning about the consensual non-monogamous culture. So I feel like I'm in the middle somewhere, but yeah, I wish I was more exciting.
You do such a great job at explaining yourself.
Oh, thanks.
In like detail. I'm taking notes. So I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Elaborate. So did you, I want to talk about jealousy. How much did that come up?
I feel like I'm kind of a cut queen.
Oh.
What does that mean?
Where you get off on the idea of your partner with someone else.
Really? You never had a moment where somebody was with somebody else and you're like, she is a baddie and I'm mad. She needs to go home.
Definitely. Like there was this person that Jared was, I don't really know how to describe maybe they had a flirt relationship, whatever. But he like told me about her and showed me her page. And I was like she was like really like fine. And I like enjoyed the feelings that those gave me. You know what I mean? I enjoyed going to that person's page and being like, oh, look at this picture or this post. And I liked it. So jealousy exists and it's definitely a part of it and it does inform my behavior, but I find it exciting, like a roller coaster. So it's like something I'm signing up for and I like. That's a part of my personality, which is why I think I'm primed for this style of connecting.
Which you think you I'm not. I think I can. We can maybe have a threesome every once in a while. I don't know how I would feel about. I'm sitting here talking to y'all about should I follow him on Instagram? I can't even see what's going on. To know that it would be like, I think it would bother me if my person was like, I'm having a flirt relationship on Instagram.
Could see her on the date.
I also don't know. I'm the type of person where it's like we could try it, and if I start to feel like I'm gonna, you know, not be a better person because of this, let's probably stop.
I love that. Yeah, just giving the opportunity to be open and be like, not open to being open and then open to being closed.
Yeah. Like, let's try this out for a minute.
See how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
Date.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would work for you because I feel like you said, talking about the social media, But I would love to hear about it if you ever decide.
Do you think you could? I feel like
yeah.
you're more,
I could. I think that sometimes I think that would just be more ideal for me. I don't mind hearing about somebody else's experiences. Like I could be dating somebody, but I don't mind hearing a little about what else you have going on. It doesn't make me feel really jealous. It's kind of exciting. And it's like I get to hear this story and then I'm wondering and comparing, not in a like which one is better, but what does this person bring out in you? Because you're telling me about this date that you had with somebody else and how things went, but we don't get that experience. And then it makes me wonder, well, what is it in me that I bring out in you? And the same with me, dating different people. Like, how am I when I'm dating these different people? And sometimes I would like to be able to share it, but I know that people get a little jealous, so I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah, and they think it's weird to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think as people who talk about sex and love for a living, like, we are fascinated by this topic. Like, we live and breathe by this topic. So the person I'm most intimately connected to, I don't want you to cut off that whole portion of yourself.
Right.
Like I want to know, like if you feel those feelings, you're excited. Like I'm interested.
What other women are you attracted to?
Yes.
What kind of stuff turns you on?
If I'm asking you about your love life, I'm curious about yours too.
Right.
And I know it exists beyond me because this is a huge part of how we socialize as people who like identify as being, you know, high sex drive and very flirty and very romantic. I know it's a big part of your lived experience and like I want to know about it. So but I haven't gotten to, I'm sure there's going to be a line where I'm like, this is too much. This is too overwhelming. And nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm okay with getting to that line and being like, and we're stopping here.
Okay, this is
taking
enough.
a little break right here. I mean, we can't come back to it, but right now, this is where I'm at. This is what I can handle, and that's not it.
So I have another question. Sex life. Do you feel like your sex life changed after you had children?
Yes.
How did it change?
For the better, for the worse, for the way worse, for the way better. And then it was like, oh, this is kind of boring. all the, you know what I mean? Like a kind of a mix. That's everything, right? That you guys you live with your partner now?
No.
No?
No, girl. No.
Soon?
He's moving back.
Well, no, because you guys had the financial conversation.
Yeah, he is moving back to Atlanta, and we talked about it. I have a fear of living with men because it's just a lot, and so like I was like, even when you move back to Atlanta, I don't want to jump into like living together because I just want to make sure this go around. I'm just trying to do it right and make sure I'm paying attention to myself and him, and it's just like no one's forcing anybody to do anything. You're not doing anything because you need something. You're not doing anything because you need assistance. We're doing it because we're making this choice. And so, no, we don't live together.
Okay.
You hear me? I'm like,
you did a really great job explaining yourself.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You broke that all the way down. Yeah, we last time we were in LA, we did an episode with Erica and Mila from Good Moms Bad Choices, and we were talking to them about their sex life after having a baby, and even while pregnant. Now, a lot of guys will say, you know, having sex with a woman who's pregnant is great. Now, did you have a high sex drive while you were pregnant?
Very, very high sex drive the first pregnancy, but that was more like I had such an idea. I think that was maybe a good gift that motherhood gave me. I would really stick to brands. Like, this is who I am. Like, I am a sex educator. I have a high sex drive. I am really sexy. I am freaky. I am frisky. I want to try new shit. And so being pregnant is not going to stop me. So even if my body didn't feel that way or emotionally I didn't really want to do that, I'm like, I have a brand. I'm sticking to that brand. And I had the capacity to do that because, one, it was the pandemic. So we had a lot more time. So we were in that like, we're just home. We should fuck. Kind of like everybody else was.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a kid. So I just like, it was a good and a bad thing because I look back at my first pregnancy and I'm like, wow, like you really did everything. You know, you worked out, like you did all the things. Like I was a very obnoxious pregnant person and I kind of like that. I was so off brand of what like a mom or a pregnant person is. Second pregnancy, no energy, no desire, no go, no sex drive, and no like interest in even bothering to like give it a shot.
Were you scared when you realized that you were feeling like my sex drive is gone? Like, is it going to come back?
Kind of, yeah, kind of no. I think I know just us doing what we do for a living, you know that things ebb and flow. And I knew I had control because first pregnancy, I didn't necessarily feel it, but I still willed myself and I got the benefits. Like that's the thing with sex, like working out. Like you don't always want to work out.
I never do.
But you always feel good afterwards. There's like rarely a time that you're like, I wish I didn't fucking work out. Like after it's done. You're like, okay, that was, especially, you know, if you're doing in sex, there's definitely times you have sex, you're like, I wish I didn't do that. But if you're with a partner that you love and you trust and you have a good dynamic and that's a part of the way that you guys flow intimately, most of the time after it's over, even if you didn't want it going in, you're like, that was still enjoyable and I'm glad we did that. But no, second pregnancy, I didn't have any, but I had a small kid who like needed my time and attention and I felt really guilty about not being enough for her. I didn't want to feel that guilt from my partner. So I'm like, not only do I not want to have sex, don't bring it up to me. Because I don't even want to feel like I'm not supplying for anybody else because I'm barely enough for me. And when I came out of a second pregnancy, I just felt really different. Like I just felt, I didn't feel like I fit my sex life anymore. Does that make sense? Did you ever go through those shifts where you're like, clothing wise, summer comes back around. It's time to put your summer clothes on. Maybe they fit physically, but you're like, this is not my style anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like me anymore.
Or maybe they really don't fit. And should have been not skipping those workouts.
Woo! You should go up a few sizes. But I know what you mean. It's like you don't feel like you. Yeah. Like that you that you're used to feeling like.
Yeah, and you're like, this is not clicking. I don't feel like I look good. I don't feel pretty. I don't feel like I go out. I second guess myself. Like that's how my sex life felt after the second baby. But I started to invite more sacred sexuality practices into my life. And I am not, like you asked my astrological sign. Like it's one of my like number one pet peeve questions. Because I don't subscribe. But I'm learning to get more relaxed with those things. And because I don't believe in like energies and chakras and lights. And so the whole sacred sex world never really felt inviting to me. But I'm like, I feel more divine. And I should bring in divine practices. And I had Tenariel on the podcast, and she was talking about receiving affirmations during sex.
I like that.
I really like that.
It feels good.
That's
and I don't know what
kinks.
kind of witchcraft that is, but I love it.
And it's so normal for us to think about dirty talk. I think that's where I was at. I'm like, sex is trying new hot things, saying hot shit, wearing hot shit.
Being a porn star for a little while.
Yeah. And I loved it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It was a break from I loved it and I was good at it. But then afterwards, I wasn't, or I didn't like it anymore. So I had to make those shifts. And I feel like now we sort of netted out in a place that I feel really good at where we're at today. And we had sex. We have sex all the time, which I think is nice.
I think that's nice too. Sex is nice. Yeah. Okay, on that note, we're gonna move on to Indecisive Diane. When we come back, Shan is gonna help us give you guys some advice. And I love when we have a good old fashioned professional to help give the advice, because we just be like, girl, cheat on him.
Would you stop thinking about what everyone wants? Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? What do you want?
Hey ladies, it's me, Diane. And this week, the date is for all my Toronto lovers. There's a place called Mademoiselle Raw Bar and Grill, located at 563 King Street, West Toronto. Go here on a hot, spicy date. Maybe get some oysters. The menu, the food is not all that great, but the ambiance will make you fall in love. And they have a great espresso martini. Bye.
Okay. And now we're back from Indecisive Diane, and it's time for the advice. If you have a question that you would like to ask us on the show, please email us at advice@cocktailspod.com. Okay, you want to read the first one?
Yeah, so this one is titled, Is It Worth It?
Probably not.
She says, hi, ladies. I'm a big fan, but let me jump right into it. I'm 26 and I don't plan on being at my current job forever, but we recently got a new employee and I think he's so cute. Now, I have a longtime boyfriend who I live with. And I have cheated before, so I ain't new to it. But I haven't done it in a while. She ramping up the cheat.
Right.
I've been getting closer with the new employee as friends, but I can tell he's been flirting and he invites me out on his little hangouts. And it'll just be us. He's white. She put it in quotes.
Asterisk.
Yeah. So my boyfriend doesn't see anything happening inappropriately, I don't think. And my coworker knows I'm in a relationship. Do I continue to do this and get a little spice, or do I leave it alone? It hasn't been any bad vibes and I haven't done anything besides friendly flirting, but I can tell he's working up the courage to test me and see if I give in. I don't really have a lot of friends, and anytime I do make a friend, it tends to be a guy who is secretly in love with me. I kind of enjoy his company and I might enjoy a little something else too. Please help me.
What do you think?
Well, I feel like if
She
it was
probably already cheated, but
She definitely has. We know you didn't send us the cocktail, because I'm like, you are questioning going out with your coworker and you're attracted to him and you feel like you can get away with it because your boyfriend is unsuspecting, because he doesn't know that you're okay with going to the white man, and that's what that is.
this is what the dating world is though now. This is what it is. It's a lot of people just like doing stuff. It's like, what are we doing, y'all? What would you tell her? She's really asking for solid advice.
I feel like she's just saying that it feels good and it's not my traditional type. And there's something about this that re-energizes me for my current romantic partnership. And it's fun and it's a fun friend. And I think that a lot of women fall into those traps where we genuinely want platonic relationships with men while acknowledging that a lot of dudes aren't capable of that without trying to make it something else, something more. And so we all kind of fall into that of like, I know this dude would have sex with me if I let him, but he makes me giggle. So I'm going to ignore that part and just maintain the friendship. So I don't know. I think if you'd be okay with your partner doing the same thing, this is entering into the territory of monogamish. Like, we're monogamous, but you can go to the strip club. We're monogamous, but there's a coworker who definitely likes me, who buys me birthday gifts, and I go to movies alone with him sometimes. You know, we're monogamous, but I maybe hold hands or whatever the line is. Like, I think that it's just worth the conversation of clarifying. I don't know. I get that some people enjoy living on like the edge of like, is this right or is this wrong? I don't like that stress. I don't want to be an unethical partner. So
how would Shan handle this? Would you just tell your partner, hey, there's a guy at work that I'm attracted to. He's attracted to me and I kind of want to see what it's like, but I don't want us to break up.
Yeah, I think like, are you cool with us having flirt buddies? Like, let's talk about monogamy. Like, what does that look like to you? Like, I'm monogamous I want that. I don't want to be your only sexual partner. I want to be the only person you say I love you to. But that doesn't mean that I don't want other like intimate connections with people. So here's what I'm comfortable with. Like, what's your vibe? Even like the question of like, are you comfortable with your partner liking other people's pictures? Like, why not just flat out ask somebody, like, what's your comfort with that? Rather than being like, they continuously like this person's pictures. And you're like,
the pictures look good.
Right, yeah. And it's art. You know what I mean? It's something, it might be like what stimulates them or, you know, ignites their creativity. I'm not sure what the explanation is, but I always feel like that. Like if you would be comfortable doing it on the other side, like it's good. But I also get that people get their kicks from doing something that feels kind of wrong.
I think she's the second one because she says she's interested in a little something else too. Good luck, girl. Now, when you cheat, can you send us a cocktail? Because I want to hear all about it because I know it's coming. They're probably going to have sex on the coffee machine. Okay. This next one. This one says, goofy girl making goofy decisions. Hey, girls. Need some advice. I've been dealing with an older man since I was 25. He's now 40 and I'm pushing 30, planning to move in with him. Backstory. I didn't like him early on, but he grew on me because he took care of the things I needed. I was honest throughout that I didn't want anything serious, and he understood, but actions speak louder than words. We've been on at least 10 trips, and everything is cool. We rarely argue, but I know for sure he's not my person. Damn. New Year's 2022, we went out with a bang to Tampa and had the best sex ever over the weekend. The trip ended with me and him both in the airport crying because it was the end. Oh, fast forward to March. I call him to check in. We get cool, and here I am now about to move in with him. I went back on the decision a few times, but ultimately decided I was just going to do it. I really want to save for a down payment on a property. And, oh my God. And I honestly just want to see what it's like. I'm stable enough that if it doesn't work out, I'll be good. And I'm not taking all of my stuff. 80% is going to storage. My question is, how do you feel about moving in with men? And do you think it's a good idea if you have a goal attached? Am I using him? You know you are using this man. You said it.
But it sounds like she's
using him. She said she knows it's not his person. She called him to check in. Everything she said about what they did was what he did for her. And she wants to move in so she can save for a down payment. I mean, what do you
communicate that to someone? Because I'm not sure if you say that to someone.
Well, she didn't ask if she should say it to him.
I'm thinking of like the advice to give her. Do you just let the man know that? And I don't know. I'm asking the professional, the therapist here, because should someone communicate that? Because I feel like naturally, if you say that to somebody, hey, listen, I really don't want to live with you or be in a relationship with you. I like you a little bit. And I like what you do for me. And I'm trying to buy a house and you can really help me with that by helping me save money if I move in with you. They're going to say no. They're going to say no. Don't.
Yeah. I think, but I guess it's like the structure exists. You know what I mean? Like men want to, he's getting something out of it too. You know what I mean? Like, so the exchange is set up in such a way that like he is saying yes to what he's receiving and he is happy to give what he's giving. And so she's just like, can I open my arms and receive it? Because what he wants to give is perfect, but I'm afraid that if he ever wants something more, that's where I'll draw the line. So it kind of sounds like right now you guys have like a mutual agreement on like the transaction that's occurring. You're just worried that this is supposed to mean more than what it means to you in the moment. So maybe that's more the conversation.
Yeah, what does this mean, us moving in together? Because I like our arrangement and it would be nice to be able to live here and you take care of me. But like, do you expect our relationship to change? Do you expect me to just be with you? You need to ask this man. I want to know what happens.
Yeah, and then to set up like a marker for checking in, you could even be like, hey, like I'm comfortable moving in with you. Like, let's see how this works for 6 months. I can tell you right now where I'm at today is I don't see this going anywhere long term, but I love the time that we spend together. I love, what we share.
Smooth it up like that.
Yeah. The compliment
this sounds
sandwich.
Like how men talk to us. Like, today I really am rocking with you. I fuck with you today.
Yeah, but tomorrow. I just don't see. But I also think that people have to be more honest about, and it's hard to say because there's a big difference between I don't want to be in a relationship and I don't want to be in a relationship with you. And those two words are missing from a lot of people's conversations. It's like and that's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like we all have friends like that. That's like, I love this friend and we have a great time together and we hang out. Like, am I gonna go on a vacation with that friend? No, I think they're a little fucking crazy. And I couldn't spend that amount of time with them. But it doesn't change the fact that like I do give them, every Tuesday and Friday, twice a month.
We can go to brunch.
Exactly. So I think that if people get comfortable with that, like it doesn't have to be everything for it to be meaningful. And like maybe he is aware of that. It might feel like, I think we would all feel burned just because we're socially told that if someone doesn't want everything from you, that means that you're nothing. And that's kind of a weird exchange too. Because she is saying yes to a lot of him. She's just not saying yes to all of him. And if he's okay with that's where you're at today, and maybe you have a time that you revisit this conversation in 6 months if things change, but maybe just being honest about like, in a nice way. The compliment sandwich is like clutch. Something nice, the shitty thing, and then the nice thing at the end. Like, and see where you go. But that sounds good. I don't know. It sounds like an ideal situation.
Yeah, it really does. I wish.
You live in the bad bitch life. A lot of people want your position, girl. You better be careful.
Don't you fumble it.
But let me ask a question though. Does this stop you? I've never been in this position before, but does it stop you from meeting your person?
If you're dealing with someone who's taking care of you?
If this situation, like, is she preventing herself from getting into her actual next greatest and truest love story because this guy's occupying so much intimate space in her life?
I feel like it's highly possible, especially because if you live with the person, because you're dating somebody and, naturally as time goes on, you go to each other's places. I don't think you're bringing over this other guy who could be it. And then he's going to be asking questions and you could be creating a block for somebody because they're like, you live with someone. I think you're cheating because it's not very common. Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I think a little bit of both, but I definitely think it'll cause it. Let's say you do meet your forever person while you still have this man in your life. I think it causes some conflict with the new person because I literally just recently went through something like this where there was a man in my life who I dealt with him for years and he was providing a lot. He was helping out a lot financially and just making things happen. And it was a nice little situation. It was like this, but I was creating my own block because I could only get so close to other people and had the time to get close to other people without making him, because he would get upset. He'd be like, I'm doing all this stuff, like, And so when I met the guy that I'm dating now, I ended up having to like tell him everything that was going on because one day the dude was blowing up my phone and it like forced me to be honest about everything. And then he was like, well, what all you need help with? And then it was just like, it caused this issue. It caused this issue that it's just like this. He started looking at me like, well, are you gauging love by what someone's doing financially for it? I talked about it in therapy and it was just all these things to unpack where it was like, am I? And he's like, if I'm not doing what he was doing, does that mean you're going to love me less? Are you using him as a safety net? Is he always going to be in our life? Because if you feel like you're not secure over here, you know you can fall back on him. And so I think that it creates some unnecessary problems for your next relationship if you really don't cut it off. And when you get stuck into the financial trap of somebody's helping you, it is hard to cut that off. And you start making yourself, you might get to a point where you start making yourself think that this is someone you want to be with because of what he's doing for you. And so I think it creates a lot of issues for the next person, for yourself, for him. It's just a lot. Like, so think about that. And I think one thing that it made me do was force me to get on my own 2 feet and not have to, I never want to be with someone where I have to have you for financial reasons. It doesn't feel good. Like, it sounds good in the rap songs. It really does. Cause I'll be rapping along too. It sounds so great, but it's just for me in the way that the relationships that I want to cultivate as far as marriage and romantic relationships, it's not healthy for me.
But was it necessary for you at the time?
It was. And I appreciate it. Even like when I really did, I was like, I'm really going to end it. It was this whole dramatic breakup for real. And it was me kind of being like, dang, I hope I am going to be good.
So when you were breaking up with him, you weren't breaking up with him emotionally. You were breaking up with the security he provided. Like, that's the pain that you felt.
It was a pain in that. But then it was also like this pain of like, he knew that. And I never looked at it like that. He knew that I needed him. And that didn't feel good at all. Like, to know, like, there's like a healthy need and then there's like a you dangling stuff in my face because you know I need. Does that make sense? Like when I was leaving, he was like, okay, well, when it doesn't end with that nigga, I'll see you when you come back. So I think just, girl, I hope you have a journal and you're just keeping track of everything and really saving your money.
And ask yourself why you don't like this guy. Because if you can spend so much time with him, what is it about him that you don't like? And maybe when you look for the other person or you open yourself up to the other person, make sure they have those qualities.
That nigga old. That's really what it probably is. She said he old.
Well, it's only 10 years. That's old. Well, I guess I have a big age gap in my mind. Anyway, good luck to you.
He could look old.
Yeah, it's probably a physical attraction is not there. I can have sex with you at nighttime in the dark in Turks and Caicos on our vacations or in Tampa where they went.
Or they might not have the same interests. You ever been on a trip with a man and you're so excited to go to this destination and then you're there and you're like, whew, this is boring.
No, but I can imagine. I mean, I've been on a date where I'm talking to somebody. It's like, I'm not interested in anything that you want to talk about at all. I want to go home.
Yeah.
And now this food is really good, so I'm going to just eat my food, and then I'm going home. Okay. Anyway, if you guys have more questions that you would like to ask us, please make sure you send them to us at vice@cocktailspod.com. And now we're going to move on to the cocktails.
Once upon a time, not long ago, I was a hoe.
So, if you have a cocktail that you would like to share, we have an email for that too. It's CockTales, CockTales, @cocktailspod.com. So, we have 2 cocktails that we're going to share, and then we're going to ask you to share a cocktail.
Oh,
okay. Okay, so I'll read the first cocktail.
Okay.
This one is titled, I love that people title them. This one is titled Wedding Sex with My Man. Hey, Kiki and Medina. I've been listening to y'all since July 2022 and finally decided to write into y'all. So let's get to it. So my man and I went on a friendcation with a couple of our friends, with a couple of our couple friends. We went to the DR and boy, we had a time. I'm gonna fast forward to the end of our stay where we all decided to get dressed up and have a dinner party. The dinner was cool, but after that, we decided to go to our villa's bar and have some drinks and whatnot. So I'm chilling with my girls and the niggas outside smoking, talking, doing what niggas do. When I get a text from my man, y'all, that text said, and I quote, "I want to undress you so bad right now." Bleep, she said her name in parentheses. My pussy leaped.
Ooh. Don't leap.
I ain't text him back because I'm having a good time with my friends and he is with his. He comes back inside to where we're all sitting and he sits next to me, then tells me to sit on his lap. My friends are all snickering and eyeing me, encouraging me because they know what's about to go down. When I'm sitting in his lap, I can just feel him getting hard and his hands start moving around my waist area. Fast forward a little bit. We decided it was time to go ahead and leave the group behind. We get in the elevator and start walking back to the room. And y'all, the minute them elevator doors close, he is all up over me, kissing my neck and chest. And child, I'm just praying the damn doors don't open. Then and there, he composed himself long enough to get back to our room. And boy, we ain't even make it to the bed. He ain't even unlocked the room before he starts unzipping the back of my dress and unclipping my bra. We get into the room. He picks me up and starts fucking me while he's holding me. Y'all, it didn't even take 5 minutes for me to start coming all over him. We do all that and then hop in the shower and end up fucking again. Long story short, that trip was in February. Now it's the end of March and a bitch is pregnant. I love y'all. Congrats.
Congratulations.
That's amazing. Thanks for sending that. I like the spice.
That was a spicy one. Okay, next
Doesn't
one.
it feel like all the important information was not included?
Yeah, she did say I'm a fast forward.
Yeah.
But like, are they still together? Is this
I hope
She
so.
seemed excited.
She seems excited. I don't know.
And
Give us a little
First and foremost,
update.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
congratulations. We do want to know. I
That
hope
was wild.
He's still
That
acting
was
right.
wild. I know, right? It's the end of April. Come on. All right. This one is called Man Eater. It says, I slutted my man out. I love when his dick is soft. I start slowly kissing and teasing it, and immediately his hard-on starts to get harder and harder with every kiss and lick and slurp. My man likes it slow and sloppy, so I make sure I give him exactly that. taking his balls in my mouth, sucking and slurping and spitting on him. She got right to it. In this one, there is no setup. Okay. I love hearing him moan and tell me how good it feels. I needed to turn it up a notch, so I told him bend over so I could admire his ass. I started to kiss on it and rub it, teasing his crack with the tip of my tongue. I spit in his booty hole and slurped it up, and he moaned so loud, it made my pussy jump. Y'all's pussies are doing a lot this week. Acrobatics. All right. He loves getting his ass ate. I'm such a munch for my man. He starts going crazy when I add pressure to his asshole with my chin, then my tongue digging in there. He's moaning as I'm tongue fucking him and massaging his nipples. I was talking him through it, telling him he's doing so good. He's a good boy. And asking him if he's okay. Daddy was letting me have my way with him. We never do fingers, but I tested the waters and inserted a finger gently. And to my surprise, he loved it. Slowly but surely, my finger went deeper. The deeper, the louder the moans. The louder the moan, the more I'm telling him he's doing good and he's a good boy. That drove him insane. I take my finger out and put in a butt plug, and he took it out. And he took it like a champ. I slutted him out completely. I honestly wanted to peg him bedside. I think he's ready for that. Y'all have any tips? No. Needless to say, that man fucked me something crazy after that. My goodness, he had me coming like crazy. Hope y'all enjoy Young Vivica Fox. Hopefully y'all got that reference. I didn't get it either.
No, I didn't.
I don't know. But all I want to say is Suki got everybody really out here eating booty hole, eating man booty and playing in booty holes. And I love to see it. Do your thing, guys.
That was incredible. I think I didn't know what to do because I was staring at you so intensely. You were looking down. I'm like, I think that's the better etiquette because I was just like,
oh, tell me more. Tell me
more stories. You're like, we sometimes will write and be like, are you a writer?
Yes.
Some people are very detailed. I'm like, I need to probably write out my personal cocktail. Should I ever share another one? Because y'all write them well.
Yeah, that was written deliciously.
It was delicious.
I can picture it. And but we don't have any tips for packing. Do you have tips for packing?
I think we need her tips.
Yeah. So
she
when
did
you
everything
do it
perfectly, like in steps, in stages, asking, like creating a feedback loop. Like I think that. And why was there a butt plug just randomly available? If you
That's
guys,
what I was wondering.
Yeah,
too.
just
was that a magic trick?
She was ready.
She was. She's like, I've been praying about this and planning this for a long time. I'm doing it tonight.
Stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready.
Right. Okay. Now it's your turn to share a cocktail.
Okay, I'm gonna share one, but they're not as good as these ones.
I bet it's still gonna be.
I
good.
should have gone first, and then we could have been like.
Well, what's yours about?
I got a happy ending massage. I rolled my eyes because I didn't finish, but my birthday, which was April 2nd. So
this already sounds great.
Good. We're actually going to put this one on Patreon. So if you guys want to hear Shan's cocktail, you have to go to the Patreon.
Like if he was, because he was cute enough and like, it was like, okay, it wasn't a creepy person.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute enough and like, it would be okay if he never let me know he was hard and he was actually good.
Mm-hmm.
I would have left there being like, that was an amazing experience. So it was like.
Were you guys expecting to have sex? Like, is that included in the happy ending, or is it just
I don't know what
jacking
the
on?
fuck was going on there?
Okay,
that was weird. Yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, what were you hoping for? Like, I'm in what work? I guess if I'm like super attracted to you, but this isn't a porn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the pizza guy comes over and I'm like, wait a second.
You know,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want to give you. I don't want to touch your dick. Like I'm not paying for that. Right. So, but maybe I don't know. For strippers, it's like. Maybe men, I think maybe men get off on the idea that like, oh, you want me. So, and maybe he's used to dealing with penises. This is Palm Springs. I'm sure majority of his clients are like older men.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I know it can be better. And maybe I go to your cocktails audience of like, it was like 50% good. I'm not willing to give up on it, but some tweaks could be made for a much improved experience for sure.
I always wanted to go to that bunny house in Reno.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna do there?
I just wanted to see what it's like. Like, I want to do stuff like that with my husband. Like, that would be like a fun little birthday weekend. Like, let's go to the little house and see what happens. It's like a sex house.
Yeah. I used to love watching that show. I was way too young to watch that show. I was watching all the shows. Dr. Sue, Johansson.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have the Disney Channel on the last channel so I could click last really quick. And I'm watching like Cinemax late at night. I was bad.
I know you was watching Dr. Sue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she's Canadian. So I'm like, because you guys usually say Dr. Ruth.
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool for a little Canadian moment there. But yeah, I think that it's I think that's anything with trying something new. Like when it comes to sex, often we'll try something new and it's not perfect. You're like, I don't like that. Like most things in life, like sushi. The first time I tried it, I got the little teriyaki chicken roll like everybody else and the the cucumber roll. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. But I kept going back. And I took like a slow pace until I figured it out. Like I wasn't like, if I don't like it the first time, I don't like it, period. So I'm trying to keep that mentality with like sex too. Like sometimes you'll try butt stuff for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's me. I don't like it. I tried it 3 times and I think I struck out.
Try it 5 times.
Well, you just, I mean, I think it's like leaving it open to be like, okay, those circumstances, those things in particular didn't work, but that doesn't mean that like eventually I won't figure it out. But I should keep in mind what I didn't like and not repeat those specific things.
Was the feeling. So I don't know how this is ever gonna work. It was painful. But that was a good cocktail.
It was a good cocktail, girl. Look at you cocktailing.
One of my favorite accounts right now on Instagram is called The Reductress. And there's this meme that's like trying to figure out if my friend's fucked up story is sad or funny.
Oh, yeah, story of our lives.
Yeah.
Is it fucked up or funny? Anyway, thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Letting us use your space.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Again, remember to check out the description box for all the links for everything we have going on. Make sure you're following us. Oh, tell everyone where they can follow you.
Well,
and
you
check
guys
out
are going to
your
be
show.
a guest on Lovers and Friends, a
Yes.
podcast. So it's a natural thing to jump over there to see that episode. And I'm really grateful for the cross
collaboration.
Yes.
That's what friends are for.
I got you. We appreciate you. This has been a great episode. I want to remind everybody to go to paradiseandvibe.com. Our next trip is in Tulum. And after that, we're going to Brazil for Carnival. So if you're interested in coming with me, go to paradiseandvibe.com and sign up now.
And if you're interested in cooking, I don't really have a lot of healthy stuff. So if you're trying to get your summer body right, I don't know about this. But if you want to do something different, maybe a fun little date night, you and your boo can cook something, you can go to classybase.com, KLASSYBASTE, and download my cookbook or order a physical copy. And then patreon.com/CockTales. Check us out and follow us on Instagram. I'm at Kiki Said So.
And I'm at Coffee Bean D.
And until next week, you guys, goodbye.
What abundant lives you have.
Thank you.
It's really lovely.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye. Bye. 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 Bye.
Population.
Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Wait on the track. Bye. 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 Goodbye. Bye. 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 Bye.
Population.
Goodbye. Bye. 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 Wait on the track. Wait on the track. I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye. Bye. 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 Bye.
Population.
Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Wait on the track. Bye. Bye. Bye.